Human capital management or HCM consists of these individual modules, and each one of these modules cater to a particular section of organizational policies. The modules are recruitment, core HR, performance management, compensation management, time and leave management, benefits, and payroll. Now let's dig into each one of these modules and demystify their functionalities. Starting with recruitment. Well, recruitment is the process of finding and acquiring skilled human labor for organizational needs and to meet any labor requirement. The recruitment module is used to administer the hiring process. Now, let's look at its life cycle, which starts with the requisition. So, requisition is basically a demand for filling up a position. It can be raised by manager, someone from HR, or finance. Then we have job posting. When someone from recruitment team publishes the job opening on various job portals. Then comes the job applications. So after the job posting, the candidates actually apply for the job on various job portals. So there is a window during which the job applications are invited. After this comes the screening. Well, screening is the process when the recruitment team goes to all the job applications, review the profiles, assess them, put aside the irrelevant ones which are not suitable to the job, and keep only those which are most suitable. Now, after the screening comes the job interview. So, recruitment team, after screening all the profiles, they schedule the interview, which can be either face to face or telephonic or via video call. There can be several rounds of interviews, and then the recruitment team, in collaboration with the HR team, will review all the feedbacks given by all the interviewers and seek approval from higher management whether the offer can be given to this candidate. And once they get the approval from the higher management, they roll out the offer to the selected candidate. So once candidate receives the offer, they will go through each and every terms and conditions the CTC offered, and if they are fine with everything, they will send an acceptance email to the recruitment team that they are fine with the offer. So once the offer is accepted, the candidate will then join the organization on a given date and complete all the joining formalities, and then finally the candidate will be considered as hired. Now let's look at core HR. Well, this is the module where core organizational policies such as onboarding, transfer, promotions are managed. Core HR is the essential bulk of information and processes that pertain to the employee in any organization. Now let's look at its life cycle. Well, it starts with the onboarding. Well, onboarding is the process when all the new joinees are given a checklist which has all the mandatory tasks that new joinees have to complete in a given period of time. So the tasks like updating their direct deposit details, updating their emergency contacts, updating their personal information, etc. And then we have whole bunch of other HR activities like employees can update their personal information using their self-service menus at any given point of time. They can update their location details, they can apply for promotions, and they can do all other sort of activities like applying for a transfer, etc. Well, core HR also consists of the termination process, which facilitates the exit process. So using this process, employees can initiate the termination, which obviously goes through a series of approvals and helps employee to complete all the exit formalities. So basically, all the core organizational transactions from onboarding to termination are all managed in this core HR module. Now let's look at the performance management. Well, It's a systematic process of managing and monitoring the employee's performance against their key performance parameters or goals. And based on their performance, the ratings are given at the end of the year. Now let's look at its life cycle and see how this thing works. So employees' performance is evaluated for a period of time, which we also call appraisal cycle. So it is normally equal to an year. So this process starts with setting the goals, which employees have to complete by the end of the year. So after the goals are set at the beginning of the appraisal cycle, employees are then monitored on their day-to-day activities, the assignments by their reporting managers throughout the appraisal cycle or year. Okay. So the process of monitoring is carried on by the managers for the whole year. And then towards the end of the year, we have the evaluation phase. So there is an evaluation period which can be equivalent to 2 or 3 months. Well, the evaluation phase involves both employees and managers. Employees will first give a rating on their own performance for the whole year, and then manager will review the ratings. Manager will decide a final rating for each and every of their direct reports, and the same thing will be done by all the managers for their own direct reports. These ratings are then given as appraisals to the employees. So after the appraisal is given to employees, each and every employee can see their own rating from their self-service menu. So this is pretty much what all happens in the performance management process. Then we have compensation management. Well, in this module, the organization's salary structure is administered. That involves setting up annual compensation budget across departments, awarding employees the salary increment based on their appraisal ratings every year. Now let's look at its life cycle. So as I said, the compensation management is all about administering the employees' compensation and the salary increments that are given to them each year. And this process starts with setting up the budget for the current year. For each department in the organization. And then once we have the ratings from the performance management module, the next task is to calculate the increment for each and every employee. So once the increments are calculated for each and every employee, it needs to be then proposed to the higher management. Basically, since the higher management is the deciding authority on all the increments, so once the higher management has been proposed the final ratings, they will review them and decide upon the final ratings that can be given to each and every employee. So once the increment is finalized, it will be awarded to each and every employee, which will be effective from a particular date. So from that date onwards, employees will then start getting the revised salary. So let's look at time and leave management. Well, this is the module where employees report their working hours through the timesheets, which is then used to calculate their wages. It also includes facilitating the employees to plan paid and unpaid vacations, sick time, FMLA, etc. So now let's look at the life cycle of time and leave management. The time and leave management module has two components. One is time management and another one is the leave management, but they both work together. It's with employees planning and submitting the leave requests, which is then sent to managers for the approval. Managers approve the leave, and the approved leaves then start appearing in the timesheets. Well, timesheet entry is a phase when employees report their working hours for a period of time. The period can be a weekly period or semi-monthly, bi-weekly or monthly period. It then is sent for the approval. The approvers can be managers or their managers. So now that all depends on the approval process. So once the timesheets are approved, the payable time is generated out of the approved timesheets. So payable time is basically the time which is supposed to be sent to the payroll for the calculation of wages and salaries. So once the payable time is generated, it is then sent to the payroll system for the calculation of wages and salaries. Okay. Now let's look at the benefits module. Well, this is used to administer benefit plans that a company offer to its employees. This module manages the entire life cycle of benefit enrollment and the payroll deduction generated for them. Now let's look at its life cycle. Benefit process starts with open enrollment. Well, open enrollment is an event when enrollments are open for each and every employee so that they can elect different benefit plans of their choice. The enrollment can be opened in two different scenarios. One, it is open for employees every year. So there is a given period of time in which the window will open and each and every employee will have to elect their benefit. But second type of event when the enrollment is open for employees is first the marriage. So whenever an existing employee gets married, since now they have a dependent, so they are given a choice of making changes to their existing benefit plans. The second in this category is the childbirth. So whenever there is a newborn child in the family, obviously it it means there is a new dependent that has been added to the family. So the employees have then the choice of again making changes to their benefit plans. Okay. So once the employees have elected their benefit plans, then comes the benefit processing. So it is basically the calculation of premiums that the employees and employer has to pay towards each and every benefit plan, the calculation of coverage that the employees will get on particular plans, and once the benefit has been calculated, it is then sent to the payroll so that the deductions for each benefit plan can be added to employees paycheck. So when the payroll calculates the wages and salaries for each and every employee, employees will see the deduction for the elected benefit plans in their paychecks. So finally, let's talk about payroll. Well, payroll module calculates the wages and salaries of organizations workforce and generates various documents for analysis and reporting purpose. This module takes input from various other modules like time and absence, benefits, and core HR. Let's look at how payroll calculation works. The payroll processing starts with the pay calculation. This is the process when the salaries and wages of the entire workforce is calculated. It takes the input from benefits module to calculate the deductions for the benefit plans that the employees have elected for them and their families. It also uses the payable time data which comes from the time and labor module to calculate the wages for hourly employees. The pay calculation process is a recurring one. So it happens over a period of time. We call that a payroll week. And once after we are satisfied with the calculation, we run the pay confirmation process. Confirmation is about finalizing the salaries and wages for the entire workforce and getting it ready for the further processing. And after pay confirmation, we have the salary deposits. After the salaries and wages have been deposited to the bank accounts of all the employees, we then finally generate the pay slips and distribute it to all the employees who have received their salaries and wages for that particular pay period. At the same time, when the pay slips are generated, we have counting lines is the information having earnings and deductions that the payroll module has produced in the particular pay period, and it needs to be sent to the general ledger in the finance systems. General ledger is basically a system where each and every transaction in the organization is captured, and it is then used for further analysis and reporting.
So this is pretty much everything about human capital management and its components.